Pat Doris. Welcome to The Story. Tonight, a deep dive into the deliberations of Oregon's Ethics Commission, which recently deadlocked over a decision on whether to investigate the governor over a conflict of interest allegation. It's a delicate dance, deciding what is justice and what is politics. And it's our big story tonight. Here's the background. Earlier this year, 3 top staffers in Governor Tina Kotek's office abruptly left. It soon became clear that they left in protest of the role that Kotek's spouse, Aimee Kotek Wilson, was being given in the administration. This past spring, the governor admitted that she was thinking of creating an office of the first spouse and then later dropped that plan. But in the meantime, ethics complaints were pouring in, filing and claiming that the governor violated ethics laws by giving her spouse space in her office, assigning state police to protect her at certain times, and assigning other staff to help her. The issue did not happen in a vacuum. It comes after former Governor John Kitzhaber resigned in disgrace after allegations in 2015 that his fiancée, Sylvia Hayes, violated state ethics laws. Hayes eventually paid a $44,000 fine to settle allegations that she used the governor's office for personal gain by serving as an unpaid advisor to Kitzhaber on environmental issues, while at the same time trying to win private consulting contracts with companies which wanted to influence state environmental laws. So, you see, people are thinking about that, and that's the background. The Ethics Commission's executive director said she looked at social media and media reports about Governor Kotek's 3 staffers who resigned but did not interview them personally herself. And she decided the case had no merit because Aimee Kotek Wilson did not get any financial benefit. Some of the ethics commissioners did not like that.
I appreciate your comment, Director, about having reviewed the some social media transcripts, especially in relation to the 3 governor's office staff persons the media has said have left the office. My question is, did you talk to those individuals as part of this review?
I did not. Had I seen information in those social media or email posts to indicate that they had anything to say that related to potential violations, anything about money or financial interests, I would have, but it did not appear from what I saw that what they were talking about or concerned about related at all to what our statutes require.
Our video is not great, by the way, for this story. We're just stuck with what they put up on YouTube, but we think it's so important we were going to show it to you anyway. Hey, the Oregon Ethics Commission has 9 members. They're all appointed by the governor, but first they are nominated for the commission. Republicans in the House and Senate can suggest 4 people, and then Democrats in the House and Senate can suggest the other 4, and then the governor hand selects 1 for a total of 9. So, it's not meant to be political, but of course it is sometimes, although with those numbers the effort is obviously to try and make the political power equal if it turns out to be that kind of a case. Now, another commissioner who wanted more investigation is Richard Burke. He was nominated by House Republicans.
And I think all of us know from having been involved in politics that when you are writing anything, especially something that could be in the public record, you're going to be very careful about how you word things. You're not going to want to burn bridges necessarily. There are a lot of issues that are involved with writing an email. So I'm actually a little bit surprised that you didn't go through the additional step of interviewing those people. It may well be that it is exactly as you say. It may well be that they were hedging based on what they were putting in the written record. But I'm curious as to why you didn't interview them given those dynamics.
Well, the executive director said that to her, the most important question was whether Aimee Kotek Wilson was getting paid or somehow making money off that position. And since she determined that she was not, there was no need to go any further. Although she said she would do those interviews if the commission decided they did want to continue the investigation. Commissioner Burke said it was important to remember the public's watching closely.
There are other issues here. There's the use of office, whether or not the office was appropriately used, as is suggested, by the attorney who provided us with the response. Other materials, and I think that the state is watching us. Everybody is watching us very carefully. And after, the John Kitzhaber, Sylvia Hayes situation, I think it is very important that we be diligent in making sure that what is asserted in your report is actually correct. That the resources provided to the first spouse, if I'm using that term correctly, were appropriate, and the usage of those resources were appropriate. And we should determine that, I think, on more than just the word of the attorney responding in this case.
Speaking of which, yes, there was an attorney responding in this case representing the governor. He's kind of a power broker in this arena. His name is Derek Johnson, and he used to be a member of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission himself.
I share the same concerns that the commissioners do about the Oregon Government Ethics Commission being viewed as a political tool, or being used as a political tool. Its role in holding public officials accountable is important, but it's just as important to dismiss meritless or claims that are based on no evidence. And that's what you have here, as the executive director's very thorough and complete report sets forth. There is no evidence of a violation of the Oregon Government Ethics statutes. That's what is before you. Now, Mr. Commissioner Burke, I appreciate that you're concerned about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate in the governor's office is something that we should all be concerned about. However, what is appropriate is different than what is legal or allowed under the ethics statutes. Appropriateness falls under what we would consider a political concern, and the political concerns are not the purview of the Oregon Government Ethics Commission.
Okay, still with us? So far, we have 2 Republicans nominated folks saying, let's dig further into this. Those staffers should be interviewed. And the Ethics Commission's executive director and the governor's lawyer saying, hey, look, there's nothing to see here. Well, there was plenty more debate, an hour's worth in total, and we're bringing you just part of it just so that you can see how seriously everyone took this particular question. And because when this story was starting to gain traction, many of you wrote to us about it. As they began to move toward a vote, the commission chair, Sean Lindsay, nominated by Republicans, revealed that he also wanted more investigation.
And that is the gaping hole that I see here, is that we only have the available information, which is material, and we have not independently verified some of these facts or investigated those facts. And thus, because of that, I do think that there is a substantial objective basis based on those reports to proceed forward with an investigation. I don't think that we should treat people differently. I've lost count, candidly, of the times that we've had respondents here at our office in tears, and we've told them, we're going to proceed forward with the investigation to independently verify some facts. And more than likely, it will be dismissed later. You'll be vindicated, but we need to iron out these facts to do our job.
But not everyone agreed. Shanoa Payne, an attorney nominated by Democrats, said there's no need for any more investigation for one simple reason.
Where I differ is that the allegations raised here, even if substantiated, for me, still would not lead to a violation. There have been, as I understand, no allegations that the first spouse has an outside job, that the first spouse has an outside contract that would be used in some sort of financial way. So to me, interviewing those witnesses are not going to substantiate some sort of allegation that is going to change this landscape. To me, the allegations are not such that it would change anything in the report that we have before us. Those are the sort of...
And she was not alone. Shannon Newell, who was also nominated by Democrats and is also an attorney, agreed.
As to the interviews of the additional the three folks and additional interviews of them, again, what I heard from Commissioner Payne and from Executive Director Myers is that even if they confirmed everything in the allegation, it still wouldn't be a violation. And so are we being efficient with our time? Are we being efficient with our use here? Is this worthwhile to do just to make sure we've looked under every rock and every nook and cranny? I don't think it is. It feels punitive if we continue because there is no substantial objective basis at this point. I understand that people may disagree, but for me, that's where I'm leaning.
In the end, the 4 commissioners nominated by Republicans voted yes, more investigation. The 3 nominated by Democrats were joined by the commissioner appointed by then Governor Kate Brown in voting no. 1 commissioner was absent. With a tie vote, the ethics complaint that Governor Kotek violated the conflict of interest rule was dismissed. So, what's going through your mind after hearing some of the back and forth of the Ethics Commission? Let us know, will you? Send us an email. The address is thestory@kgw.com or call and leave a voicemail. The number is 503-226-5090. Turning now to Portland's homeless crisis, the city says that in the past couple of months, they've been able to move 60 people from their mass camping site into permanent housing. And that's mostly due to the county covering the rent in the permanent housing for a full year. While it's encouraging progress, as Blair Best reports, the formula that got most people housed does not work for everyone.
All right, this is my house. This is 96.
Off Southeast Powell Boulevard, David starts over.
March came and these guys took me in.
Previously homeless for 7 years, David is now at a city-run temporary shelter site and on the wait list for permanent housing.
It's giving me my self-respect back. It's giving me my self-esteem back.
Recently, the team behind the site housed 60 people just like David within 2 months.
We have a very motivated care coordination team. We walked them through every little step of the way.
And it's all thanks to Multnomah County housing vouchers, covering 1 year of rent.
These specific vouchers came with case management. We've seen that that's the most successful model for keeping folks housed and making sure they're really successful.
Their goal is to move them through connected to whatever services they need to get off and stay off the streets.
That goal is not always met. Take Andy Jones, for example.
About 15 years.
That's how long he's lived on the streets. Last year, he stayed 4 months in that Portland shelter site before moving into permanent housing.
They gave me all this luxury. They gave me brand new washer and dryer in the unit. They gave me, it was nice. It was too nice to be good.
Because 2 weeks later,
they sent me an eviction notice.
Over his dogs and noise complaints. He also used meth there, he tells us.
I was definitely on the way out, quitting.
He ended up back in a tent on the Central East Side.
It's depressing. Because I put down my wall, to let people in and trust people, and I just slapped in the face.
We're seeing mostly that happens with our hardest cases, folks who have been on the street chronically homeless for years on end.
Begging the question, are people being moved into housing too quickly? And is there enough support for them once they do? Those at the city say they're working on it.
I think it has to be a holistic response for our community. So we can't have silos. We've really tried hard at the city to create a holistic kind of system and program that meets individuals' specific needs.
Blair joins me now from Southeast Portland from a shelter site, the shelter site there. Okay, so the city got 60 people into housing in 2 months, but separately we heard that one man, not part of that group, but one man who got housed maybe too fast and then evicted. How many others like him are there?
So we asked the team running the site that question and they didn't know. So we brought the question to the mayor's office and they said they don't have that data because it's something that the county tracks and that the county is working to be more transparent on giving those numbers out.
All right. And then so it's unclear how many of those 60 are still housed, hopefully everyone, and how many others were put into permanent housing separate from that group but evicted. So we'll look forward to getting those metrics. But in the meantime, 60 in 2 months, that does sound sort of like a promising start. If the model holds up, maybe they can scale it up. Does the mayor's team stand behind this model?
They do, and confidently, might I add. You know, this shelter site here behind me, the mayor tells us that other cities are looking to it as an example of how to address homelessness, but it's a delicate balance, as you saw. If they're not careful, they could potentially do more harm than good. Like in Andy's case, clearly he did not get the amount of support he needed to successfully transfer from street life into permanent housing. And on top of all of that, he tells us he moved to Portland from California to escape heroin, but also to turn his life around.
Well, my old ways is stealing cars, selling drugs, and running amok, being a thug. That it's not, and I didn't want to be like. I'm not trying to be like that anymore. I'm just trying to be humble, peaceful. They give me all this luxury. They gave me brand new washer and dryer in the unit. They gave me it was like. It was nice. It was too nice to be good, and I thought that from the gate. But then, I gave it a chance. I opened up and said, "Nah, this is what they said that it's gonna be. It's gonna be all good." So I played it out, and then they turned around and look at me now. Look where I'm at now. It's like, how are you gonna give somebody that, give them all that, and then take it away? And it's like that mentally, excuse my language, but mentally messes with a person.
All right, now what he just said is not lost on the team behind this site. They actually screen people before putting them into permanent housing to make sure things like this never happen. But clearly something went wrong in Andy's case. Now the city is working to open another one of these mass shelter sites in North Portland, and they tell us that one will be ready to go sometime this fall. Pat?
All right, thanks, Blair. Always amazing the interviews you get there, so thanks for bringing those to us. Let's get ready. Well, today's our last weather impact alert day of this heat wave, a weather pattern that is suspected to have killed at least 6 people in our region since Friday. Today we got some more details, general details on those victims and where they were found. The first was an 87-year-old man found near Gresham. We're only getting zip codes for locations right now, so somewhere there on the map. On Saturday, a 33-year-old Clackamas County resident was taken to a hospital where he died. And then on Sunday, a 64-year-old man was found in southeast Portland. Also Sunday, a 75-year-old man was found in southeast. And the latest death was reported yesterday, a 67-year-old woman found in northeast Portland. The county adds that there are suspected to be heat-related deaths and that confirmation could take weeks to months on those deaths we just mentioned. The sixth victim, a 33-year-old man, died in Coos County. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino now. Matt, today was certainly brutal. I was in the Albany area around 10 a.m. It was already 85. But these triple digits, they're going to be behind us soon, I hope?
Yes, today will be the last day of triple-digit temperatures. And while it will remain warm and above average, we'll talk about that in a second, this is really going to break the back of this heat wave later on tonight as some cooler marine air seeps into the western valleys. Notice I didn't say flood. It's more of a seep, but it'll be enough to take the edge off. Here are some of the records from today. Portland, the airport, hit 104. That's our warmest temperature since last August when we hit 108. We also set a record for the warmest night, with the low temperature only dropping to 67. Downtown Portland, right here at KGW, we hit 100 for the first time this year. Also had a record warm night last night, never dropped below 69. So, the warm nights make it tough for two reasons. First of all, it just makes it tough to get comfortable if you don't have AC. And it also gives you a higher starting point for the next day, which makes you get even warmer, which is what happened from this morning to this afternoon. Other records, Salem 105, Eugene 106. The Dalles and Pendleton hit 109 this afternoon. Just amazing, right? So let's talk about these streaks, because this has really been the thing about this heat wave has been the duration. This is our longest streak of days of 99 degrees or warmer that we've ever had, tying July of 1941 and August of 1981. But in Salem and in Eugene, record streaks of 100-degree days at 5. Neither location had ever done that before this year, and the records go back to the 1800s, so that's saying something. Those are some long-standing heat records that fell in Eugene and in Salem. Okay, now our longest stretch of 90-degree days is 10. If we can get to 90, if we can, and I hope we don't, but if we do get to 90 on Thursday, that's the one day I'm forecasting sub 90-degree highs, then we'll break that streak as well. So again, the streak will be at least 7 days, and 7 of the 10 longest 90-degree day streaks have come since 2015. Again, an indication of our warming climate, right? This is interesting as well. Now, with all those records we've been having, it has boosted our average temperature for the month. Yes, I realize today is only July 9th. We have a lot of July to go through, but we stand a chance of setting a record for the warmest month of July we've ever had, depending on how the rest of the month goes. The average for the entire month, highs and lows, all of it, 70.2 for Portland. So far, we're 8 degrees warmer than that. Salem, 69.3. More than 8 degrees warmer, like 9 degrees warmer than their average for the entire month of July. And Eugene is also about 8 degrees warmer than its average for the entire month of July. Now, that begs the question, are we going to see cooler weather later on this month? And yes, cooler than it's been, because we're breaking the back of this heat wave tonight. Won't be as hot. But again, we're still going to be like 10 degrees above average. So those overall averages will go down, but not that much, not down to average. Now, this area of high pressure, the center of this big hot air mass, migrates away for a bit, but next week, it begins to roll back towards the Four Corners area. And if this pattern sets up, this is a southerly flow in Oregon, and the flow is coming out of the desert southwest and then up into Oregon. That can transport monsoon moisture into Oregon and fuel thunderstorms, also make our air a little bit more humid too. So we'll see if this actually shapes up, because this is a week from Friday, this forecast. So there's a lot of time for this forecast to change, but that potentially could happen, and we don't really want to see thunderstorms with all the hot weather we've had. Now, here's the 6 to 10 day forecast and outlook, and this is for next week, from the 15th through the 19th, so that's Monday through Friday of next week. And in Oregon, it shows average temperatures, that's the gray at the coast, and then this gradient into the really hot stuff over the northern Rockies. So for Western Oregon, Pat, that would mean that we're leaning above average, but not as hot as it's been. So I think it's a little bit of good news.
Well, it's great news, I think. Let's just say it's great news. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it. You've been working hard these last few days. Really appreciate all your insights.
Absolutely.
We'll be right back right after this. The KGW School Supply Drive starts in just a few weeks. You can go to kgw.com/school, sign up your organization, and we'll send you a collection kit so that you can help collect school supplies for your school district. That's kgw.com/school. The kids will say thank you. Hey, that's the end of our show. Thanks so much for watching. But remember, the story, our collective story, that never ends. The good stuff's coming your way next. I'll see you right back here tomorrow night at 6:30.